Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you one of the easiest and a more accurate method of cutting a 6-piece or a 6-panel skirt. If this sounds like something you're interested in learning, please watch to the end of this tutorial. To all returning subscribers and viewers, thank you for your support, and if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe now and don't forget to like this video. So the major things I would use for this tutorial are my short skirt pattern and my Ankara fabric, and also I'll be needing lining because I will line this. Okay, so if you don't know how to draft a short skirt pattern, I'll be dropping a link on how I made a short pencil skirt. I will drop the link in the description box so you can check that out. For your skirt pattern, you should stop 2 to 3 inches before the knee line. Okay, so that is what I have here. I have 18 inches, which is 3 inches before the knee length I'm working with, and I've added all allowances on my pattern. So both the zipper allowance and the seam allowance are already on the pattern. I'll work on the front skirt pattern first. So from the waistline, I'll come down at the center front part by 3/4 of an inch and connect it to the side. Okay, this is just for the way we draft our basic skirts. This is because of the stomach in front, so I'm reducing this point by 3/4 of an inch. So for this skirt, the bust span I'm working with is 8 inches, so divided by 2 is 4 inches. So I took my dart at 4 inches point. Okay, so this is my dart at this 4 inches line. I took ½ inch on both sides of that line for my dart. So what I'm going to do is I'll measure this 4 inches all along from the center front. I'm going to take my dart down to the end of this pattern. Okay, then I'm going to rule it, connecting it to the dart, the 4 inches I have at the top. After connecting this, I'm going to cut into 2 at this bust span line. Okay, these 4 inches I measured from the center front, I'm going to cut it open. So as I'm cutting it open, I'm going to cut off the dart. Remember I said on this pattern I took that, so I'm cutting out that dart, the ½ inch on both sides of this line I took as my dart, like we normally do for every basic skirt. So I'm cutting that out, and then I'm going to continue and cut through to the end of the pattern. All right, so I'm cutting my front skirt into 2 on the bust span line. So that's what I've just done. So you can see what I have. I now have 2 pieces for the front skirt. So I'm going to repeat the same thing for the back skirt pattern. So for the back skirt, remember that there is a zipper allowance, so all measurements start after the zipper allowance. So I'm going to rule my zipper allowance line so that you can see the line. So all the measurements starts from there. So it's from this, after the zipper allowance, that I took my dart for the back, and it's also after that I'm going to take that 4 inches, the 4 inches, which is half of the bust span measurement. So I'm doing the same thing, repeating the same thing I did in front. I'm measuring 4 inches, and I'm going to connect it to the 4 inches coming from the waist part of the skirt, like this. I'm going to cut it into 2 like I did for the front, but before then I'm going to label the front part, center front and the side front, so that I don't get confused. So I'll also label this one so I know which piece is for which, or for which side. So I'm going to cut out the darts like I did for the front skirt pattern, and also cut into 2 at this bust span line. So here are my patterns. This is for the back and the other one is for the front. So here are my patterns. So what I'm going to do next is to determine how much fullness I want around the hem of my skirt, the sweep of the hem of the skirt, how full I want the A line to be. Okay, so to determine that, I'm going to need the hip measurements I'm working with, and I'm working with 45 inches. So I'm just sketching an illustration of what our 6-piece skirt looks like. Okay, so let's assume this is the front of the skirt. You see that the hem part is flayed out. So to determine how much fullness we want at the hem part, we need the hip circumference. So what I'm going to do is to multiply the hip circumference by at least 3. You can decide to multiply more than 3 depending on the fabric available to you. So I think I will just go with multiplying the hip circumference with by 3. So when I multiply 45 by 3, I have 135. So this also helps me to know the amount of fabric I need. So it means I need 135 inches of the fabric I'm working with. That's approximately 4 yards. So we're doing 6 panel skirt, 6-piece skirt. So if this is the back, that means the back has 3 panels as well, but the center back will be split into 2 because of the zip that will be at the back. So for me to know how much I need for each panel, I'm going to divide 135 by 6 because it's 6-piece skirt. So that will give me 22.5. It means that each panel of the 6 piece is going to be 22.5 by width, 22.5 inches by width. And also we're going to determine the length of the skirt. The length of the dress is 59 inches. And so I'm going to subtract my half length from that, and I'll be left with 42.5, and I'm going to add 1.5 inches for my hemming. So I have like 44 inches for the length. So each panel is going to be 22.5 width by 44 inches length. Now I'm going to cut out the center front first, right? So on my fabric, I've folded my fabric into 2. Since each panel is 22.5, when you fold it, you divide 22.5 into 2 because your fabric is on fold. So I have here about 12 inches on fold. What I need actually is 11.25, which is half of 22.5, but I have more than that on fold, so it's enough. And I folded according to the length I need, which is 44 inches. So I'm going to use a pin. All right, the center front must be cut on fold because it's not going to be split, is on fold. So I'm going to pin to hold my pattern in place like this. Then after pinning it, I'm going to take half-inch allowance. Remember that it's split into 2, so the center front will be joined to the side front. So I'm taking half-inch allowance after my pattern where the center front and the side front will be joined together. So I'll take that and connect them together. Then at the hem of this skirt, which is the 44 inches length, I'm going to measure 11.25 plus half inch. That half inch that will be used to connect center front to side front, I'm going to still add it. 22.5 divided by 2 is 11.25 plus extra half inch will make it 11.75. So on the hem, I'm going to measure 11.75. This is because my fabric is on fold. Please take note. So I'm going to connect from the tip, from where my pattern stopped, down to the hem of the skirt like this. After connecting, I'm going to cut out. After connecting, I'll cut out, and I'll use my fabric to cut out my lining. Exactly what I have on the fabric is how I'll cut my lining, because this dress is going to have a full lining. The skirt is going to have a full lining. So after cutting, I'll just place this on my lining, fold my lining into 2. Like the fold should be up to 12 inches on fold, and then I'll cut out my lining. So you can see what I have for the skirt, and I've gone ahead to cut out my lining like I said. From the tip, the open parts, I'm going to come up by 1 inch and connect it towards the center part. Okay, so I just came in, just see how I connected it. Okay, so that when I sew, it will not be longer. Okay, I want everything to be the circle to be fine and round at the hem. So I've cut this out, and that's it for the center front. Okay, so I'm going to go on and cut out the center back. So I've put my fabric on fold for the center back. Remember that I say each panel is 22.5, so on fold you have 11.25, but for the center back I'm going to add extra 1.5 inches, which is my zipper allowance, and I've ruled it out on my fabric. My zipper allowance, I used 1.5 inches. So what I have the 11.25, I added extra 1.5 inches. Please take note for the zip, and I'm going to pin, making sure that the line on my fabric matches with the zipper allowance line on the pattern. Okay, so I'm going to you can see I still have extra. I have exactly what I need, the 11.75, because of that half inch that will be used to join to the center front. So I'm measuring that out, 11.75 at the hem. Then at the sides of my pattern, I'm taking half inch, which is the joining allowance for joining the front center, the center back, sorry, to the side back. This is the back now that I'm cutting, so the center back to the side back. So when I get to this 18 inches point, I'll use my straight ruler to connect to the hem, just the same way I did for the front, center front. Okay, so you can see how I'm connecting. So the same thing, I'm going to cut this out, use my main fabric to cut out the lining for the back, center back, the same thing. So this is the zipper part, I'm just connecting it down this way, and I'll just cut this out. So the center back is 2 pieces because of the zipper that will be attached at the center back, right? So I've cut my lining and I'm going to go upward like this by 1 inch and connect like I did for the front piece. To cut the side fronts, I'm cutting the 2 side fronts together, so that is why my fabric is on fold. It doesn't actually mean that to cut each panel you fold. So here I have fabric, the width is supposed to be 22.5. I added extra 2 inches to that because of the zipper allowance, because of the side seam allowance. So I put that into consideration, and I shared this 24.5 into 2 equal parts. You can see a line I ruled at the center. Now I'm going to take my side front pattern and fold it into 2 at the hem like this. The hem of this pattern, I folded it into 2 equal parts like this. So I've noted that center. I'm going to make sure that this center matches with the center, the line I ruled on this fabric, dividing it into 2 equal parts. I don't know if you understand. So I folded my pattern, the hem parts of this pattern, into 2 equal parts, and I ruled a line dividing this whole fabric into 2 equal parts. So I'm going to just pin it and make sure they match so that everything is evenly distributed. That's why I did this. So I'm going to pin together. Okay, I'm going to pin at this line, okay, at that center point, the midpoint of this my side front to the line I ruled, dividing the whole fabric into 2. So after doing that, on either side of this line, I'm going to measure 11.25, which is actually half of 22.5. Do you understand? So to the side that will be attached, to the side with the side seam, I'm going to measure 12.25. Adding allowance for my joining, my seam allowance is also added, so I considered that. So instead of 11.25, I have 12.25 at the hem of that side. Do you understand? So I'm going to connect. This is the side with the seam allowance. So at the hem I measure 12.25 because of my joining allowance, my side seam allowance, sorry. And then this other side that will be connected to the center front, I'm going to add half inch. Do you understand? Half inch like this, and then I'll connect it down. I'll measure 11.75 like I did for the center front. This only needs half inch seam allowance, and I'm connecting it this way. And on this side I'm going to add half inch all around this pattern. Note that the other side I have the side seam allowance, I did not add anything to that side because the allowance has already been added on my pattern. So I'm only taking the half inch on this side. After connecting, I'm going to go ahead and cut out. So I've cut the 2 pieces, to the 2 side pieces together. I'll use my material, the main fabric, to cut out the lining pieces. So on the hem part of the two sides of the hem, I'm going to come up by 1 inch and connect towards the center. I'll do the same for this other side. I would come up by 1 inch and then connect it towards the center, as you can see me do. Then I'll trim it out. After trimming it out, I would also use my main fabric to cut out the lining. So this is for the back sides, the sides for the back. So I folded the hem parts. Please don't mind this other side that is not complete, but at the hem I have 24.5 like I did for the sides, for the front side. Okay, so I've ruled the line dividing this fabric into two. Okay, so I'm just going to place it right the midpoint of the hem of this pattern. I folded into two. I noted that midpoint, so it's matching the mid line I have on the fabric. The same thing I did for the sides, the front sides. I'm going to connect the side that has the side seam allowance. I'm going to measure on the hem 12.25 and connect. That's what I'm doing now. Then for this other side, I'm going to measure 11.75 and connect, because I need just ½ inch to join the side back and the center back together. And on this other side, I'm going to take that ½ inch for joining the center back and the side back together. Do you understand? I'm going to take ½ inch all along this side because of that ½ inch joining allowance. After connecting, I'm just go ahead and cut out this whole thing and then use the Ankara to cut out the lining piece. So at this end, I'm going to come up by 1 inch and connect towards the center. I'll do the same thing. 1 inch, I'll measure and connect to the center and cut out. So I've cut my lining, so I want to cut the two together. That's why I cut the lining first. Then I'll go ahead and cut out these parts that I've measured before. Now all pieces have been cut with their linings. This is the center back and the side back. Okay, center back and side back. So they are both 2 pieces each. So I'll just pick, you can see this is the points they will be joined together by ½ inch seam allowance. So you take 1 piece of the center back, 1 piece of the side back and join them together by ½ inch. I'll also do the same thing for the lining pieces. So that's how you join it. Then for the lining pieces, after joining, I'm going to trim it. I'm going to reduce it by the hem by 1 inch. Okay, I'll reduce the lining by 1 inch at the hem side. Then these are the front pieces. I have my center front and I have my side front. You can see this is the point, okay, where they will be joined together. Remember, the center front was cut on fold. Okay, so to join them, I have to unpin and open up the center front. I have to open up the center front to attach the side front on either side of it. So I'm marking my wrong side because when I open this up, I might not be able to tell which is which. So I'm just going to use the chalk to mark on my wrong side, okay, so that I'll be able to tell the front and the right side and the wrong side apart. So what I'll do is open up your center front. You take 1 piece of the side front, attach it on one side of the center front and the other piece on the other side of the center front. So after joining them, you just have 1 piece for the front. Then you join like you normally do by the sides with the side seam allowance that was already added on the pattern. You just join it together, attach your zip. But for this, I'm making a dress. So what I'll do after sewing, I'm going to attach the upper bodies to these skirts to make the dress. So guys, this is on how you can cut your 6 pieces skirt. Thank you guys for watching. Please like this video, subscribe if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.